Magical presentation is missing.
Magical because the turning around is slow. And that's why he says, let's look forward, rather than picking up things, I think in some of the incidents or speeches of Mitt Romney, he shot himself on the leg,
right.
2-3 places, even on the economic issues. Obama is consistent.
Also the video which is doing rounds on Mitt Romney.
Michigan, as you put it, recovery of the auto industry, he pumped in $100 billion into Detroit and in Michigan. In spite of his father's state, it will go to him.
Right, and he also took a fundamental stand on not cutting money on the social sector schemes, despite the economy being in shambles. So this is one huge challenge. But if we compare Mitt Romney versus Barack Obama, the polls are saying that Obama has is a clear-cut favorite. But the very fact that now, even if we go through the transcript of his speech, when he says that, give me a chance and have patience and another 4 years and I'll, deliver on all that I can. Is there also some sort of an acceptance that, I could not really deliver all that I promised?
As you rightly mentioned, the DNC speech, Democratic National Convention speech. And I would like to recall the speech before Obama was given by President Bill Clinton, former President Bill Clinton. And he noted in this speech that the kind of problems, economic problems U.S. economy was facing in 2008-9, that could not have been solved in just 4 years. So Obama, he tried his best, and I would like to give you some figure. If you see the unemployment
support from the Indian American community there, and also he has fielded many candidates of PIOs, who are supporting him in his campaigning. But that's one issue. But at this stage, if we compare these two candidates, how are you rating them?
Well, Romney has this so-called likability problem, and it's clear that he is a representative of the same private equity firm and investment banking community that is much reviled. Obama is good for American society. Whether he's good for the world or not, that's a different
issues, gay marriages, abortions. These social issues have always acquired a very center stage. But this time, economy is overshadowing all the important social issues. Do you feel that?
The Republicans have tried to make some of these so-called wedge issues and bring them back, especially abortion and gay rights. But I think, if you look at demographic change, I think Indians, are also trying to balance this contradiction between social conservatism,
right,
while the Republicans have to show that they are staunch Christian on the right.
Mitt Romney is put, his stand on several key issues, be it the foreign policy, be it the domestic issues. We'll bring that as well. But historically, Professor Raj, because unemployment at this stage is a very big issue in US. Historically, do presidents in US get re-elected when unemployment is a very big issue? Because generally in the past we have seen that it never happens.
The first thing I'd like to, since you brought history, historically there has been one-time president too. You had Carter, you had President.
The campaigning in this election is income inequality. I'll come to you, Professor Raj, about one challenge is of how to actually build and take care of the income distribution problem.
See, this is also emerging out of the debate. Redistribution.
Policy in
that's the mimicry they have done it over Obama's situation. So when you look at various ways when he is redistributing,
he's also rejected the proposals made by the Debt Commission on cutting, spending on the welfare programs. And if we look at his stand on the economy, he said that it'll be like about tax increases for the wealthy, closing tax loopholes, and modest budget cuts. Whereas Romney says that instead of lower taxes, he'll focus more on closing tax loopholes and much greater cuts to the largest government programs. So there's a difference here, whereas Obama says that there's no point reducing the spending on important social sector programs. Romney says that we have to cut as far as and in fact reduce, as Professor Raj is saying, also reduce your spending on austerity measures. Were also we are continuously taking austerity measures. Yeah.
Even he protected as he clearly brought the banking system was protected with the 800 billion feeding in. The car industry was protected with 100 billion going into Detroit.
During campaigning, whenever US elections have happened in the past also, we have seen incidents when these kind of blunders come from a candidate. But this doesn't really have any sort of an impact on the way people vote. Do you feel that?
Actually, this kind of video which has come, in fact, he was speaking in a fundraiser campaign, and he was making some serious remarks. So some general remarks are avoidable, but people might take.
Opinion polls say that it is a very narrow, it's neck on neck, if we see Romney versus Obama, but issues like economy and also healthcare. Now, what is also being said that Obama, the healthcare policy is his single biggest legislative achievement so far. So, will that give him an upper hand in comparison to Romney?
I think so. Historically, as you know, America has deprived its underclass from quality health care, and the overhaul probably did not go as far as would have benefited the least privileged, because see, the insurance companies and the pharmaceutical companies determine the cost of health care primarily, and Obama is not yet, in fact, I don't think he ever will be so powerful to be able to break these cartels to make it more accessible. But certainly state provision, greater state involvement, this whole thing that Romney is attacking is at the core of the question of what role government should play. What kind of Americans are we? It's about identity question, an insult to the poor. But if you look at it another way, Romney is going back to the old so-called, the American dream, where you have to work through your own, abilities rather than depending on government. But in times of depression, I mean, from Keynes onwards, we know that the state is the fallback, and Obama is saying, I'm the state, and at the end of the day, austerity compared to what has happened in Europe has been far lesser in America.
And time and again, Romney is also saying that he has created this dependency notion. Obama has created this.
The right has always said that, because see, the caricature of welfare is that basically the minorities, the black people, the Latinos, they are always on welfare.
Has approved the healthcare. Then the healthcare is, everybody contribute 2% of their income now, and after 65, complete free. So that is a great thing for the people, senior citizens. After 65 is the major.
Right, and that is a very big achievement for Obama also, and this definitely will reap benefits for him in this campaigning. Yeah,
I'd like to just add one more point what Dr. Cholia was saying, is that Romney's side, he is making these policies, I think, is very similar to the policy line of the Republican Party.
But it is important to understand the time and nature of the challenges which US is facing. But it is also being said that apart from the competition which both these candidates have, there are 9 battleground states which will be deciding majorly that how these candidates will be doing, be it Ohio or Indiana, Wisconsin, Virginia, and also other important states. We'll be discussing and asking questions on these issues also, and also how US is looking at its foreign policy. Stay tuned. And in this edition, we are discussing the US presidential election. What are the issues and who is ahead? Program, call us on our toll-free number 1-800-11-5313. I'll come to you, Professor Cholia. Now, what is also being said that apart from other states, there are 9 battleground states which will be largely deciding the fate of these 2 candidates. How important are these 9 states?
Well, we just saw Ohio just last week. They've announced that the Americans are filing a case against the Chinese for auto parts subsidies, and it's clearly aimed at the Ohio voter base. There's a link between what America is doing overseas and what it's saying about China and all these things, and the elections right now. And I think brackets like fresh graduates, it's 20-25% who are out of college. So there is suffering, and I think Obama, that's the reason obviously why hope is not as bright as it was a few years ago. But as he was connecting and emoting with people, he was like a nurse to a suffering nation. And I look at Obama that way, So
he connects well, and
since you brought the idea of battleground, 95 electoral votes are on that 9 states. The major is Florida. 29 votes, big chunk. And who are in Florida? Aged, and Latinos are now the majority. As you saw last time also, Obama won 2008 election. It was a Bush bastion. The thing was stopped. Al Gore was almost winning. He had the popular vote, but Bush had
said that he'll go for increased spending on defense. How are you seeing their approach towards the foreign policy? Because Iran remains a huge challenge. We know what is happening in West Asia, Libya, Syria. These countries. Despite foreign intervention, things are not changing there.
Yeah, I think it's a very important aspect of Obama's policies, and foreign policy. On foreign policy front, he has been very successful, I would say. And on defense cuts, yes, $487 billion has been announced, and but you have to also see that U.S. approach towards defense and security has been changing. They have come out with a new strategic guidance, which says that they are moving their attention towards Asia Pacific region. And also, not only that, they will be
to bring it back to society which is suffering, into healthcare and education and all this. How is the state going to finance the so-called Obamacare, for example? They have to cut down
on his approach towards the internal security, because he also eliminated Osama bin Laden and the strategic defeat of Al-Qaeda. Change issue, because this completely disappeared from his political agenda.
Yeah, but that shows that America is relatively in decline, and its capacity to be able to affect change and transformation has reduced.
No,
this is not the sole superpower.
This is something which Romney is also saying, that American leadership is in decline.
It's material capacities. It's not about leadership. In fact, if not for Obama, there would be no way America would have even this presence that it has right now with such a declining economy.
Okay, it's now time for me to take a short break. In our final segment, we'll discuss more on this issue. Stay tuned. The key issues in the U.S. presidential election. Seeing the U.S. presidential election 2012, I'll come to you, Mr. Srivastava. Now, what is also being said, as we were discussing earlier, about American leadership in decline, and even Romney has said, and he's said that he's portraying engagement as apology and caution as confusion. The comments coming from Romney on Obama's policy of engagement with different countries.
I think Romney's announcements, Romney's policies, in my view, is appearing to be more rhetoric than substance, because if you see his policy approach towards Israel-Palestine conflict,
there would be
but other than also, I think he has got some vision with regards to the peace and stability of the Asian region.
As we were talking earlier, has Obama really stood for all that he said? For example, be his stand on liberty, on freedom, on democratic principles.
See, on the terrorism, as we examine his policy, Bush went completely on a war, but he has sustained that war.
If you try and analyze India's approach towards the U.S. presidential election now, do you really feel that U.S. and India have a common strategic vision? Because be it China, Afghanistan, Pakistan, Iran, India and U.S. have completely different stands.
See, now the people who are following Obama's statements and campaign, looking at the National Convention, there is only one statement in the whole issue, is that we will invest more on India's strategic alliance. Earlier, when he landed up in India, he said India is an emerging power, not only emerging but an emerged power, and our strategic relations are going to be deep. Same time, one did not find in this cough all of us for India. They decided India, but there is nobody. We have plenty of Indians sitting there, but they are not doing anything.
But the policy is not very India-centric. Now, last 5 minutes on the show.
1 minute. Yeah. One indication that the Indians have been playing a major role. They have not appointed Indian-American ambassador. As in Chinese case, they have already appointed a Chinese. They still have no right to present.
True. And final comments on the program. I'll start with you, Professor Cholia, because we are seeing the opinion polls are also saying that Indian Americans are coming in huge support of Obama. We are historically we have always favored a Republican candidate than a Democrat. Do you feel that Indian Americans, or even for India, Obama is a better candidate?
Well, it's a hard call, but because one thing the Republicans often do is to focus on China, about countering China more aggressively than what this pivot and rebalancing means. So the previous administration of the Republicans, we were happy somewhat because it looked like we were benefiting from the American press.
Final comment. You are all for Barack Obama, having a second term.
From the point of American people, they need him.
Okay, from the point of American people, they need him. Final comments from you.
I would say I'm the optimist with regard to India-US strategic partnership, and I think that in the last 4 or 5 years, especially after the signing of the nuclear deal, as Professor Raj said, that the Bush did a lot. And there is one issue which is still pending, but because of the nuclear deal, we have our relationship have come quite close, and we are not only dealing with the on nuclear issues, but also whole the India.
So you're very optimistic about Obama. So American people might want Obama, but you feel that Indian people should also want Obama to be the
I think
president
Obama
of the US.
presidency for another 4 years will be good for America. And also, I'm very hopeful that he is going to do a lot for India-US strategic partnership.
Okay, so you're hopeful that President Obama will do good for India as well.
One more point I would just add that there is a realization also that India's tough neighborhood, India's own problems, domestic issues, US policies in the Afghanistan, Pakistan, and US domestic realities. So there is a realization and also convergence and of views among both the sides are happening these days, and I think the relationship between India and US are going to be more mature.
Okay. Final comments from you, Professor Raj.
See, as I would share that Obama is good for America, people of America, society needs him. But as far as India is concerned, much need to be done. I think first step should be Carl Penman should be made the ambassador. He's talking and he's saying, I'm so closer to. Let them show something. If they can try on China appointing a Chinese immigrant, his parents are Chinese as ambassador, I think they should treat India in the same way.
Okay, and you also feel that Obama is indeed a very good candidate for India also, and no wonder because Indians have now started supporting a Democrat.
Golden years are Bush, as far although the we have always felt Democrats are always with us, but Democrats, over my historical analysis, I found has been a failure for India.
Okay.
Always the Republicans have done, in spite of their positions. You saw. Over the years of indoor.
Okay, so we have to wait till November to see who will be winning this presidential election. But as of now, as what I could gather from this discussion, all of you are for Obama and Obama getting a second term in White House. Thanks very much for joining us in this program, and that's all we have for you in this edition of Public Forum. Thanks so much for watching. Namaskar.